welcome to the public meeting of the Halton District School Board for Wednesday, June 17th, 2020. Tonight is our last regular meeting for the trustees of the Halton District School Board for this year. However, we will be holding some special meetings in the summer to consider some issues, including approval of the budget. Please look for notices of the special board meetings on the hdsb.ca website, as they may not occur at the regular 7 p.m. on a Wednesday night. Just to let you know, there's a doorbell that is about to ring at my house. To maintain adequate social distancing as directed by public health experts, the HDSB has had to resort to moving our meetings from the J.W. Singleton Center to a completely remote setting. I will ask for your patience as we deal with any technical issues, and we've already had a bunch during our in-camera session, so it may continue. If you do have questions about the content of our meeting, please reach out to your local trustee or myself after the meeting. During this meeting, trustees have the ability to vote digitally and can add themselves to a digital speakers list to try to preserve sound clarity. To accommodate technology, internet bandwidth, and privacy issues, turning the camera on is not mandated in this meeting. In fact, staff are encouraged to keep their cameras off when not speaking so that it's easier for me as chair to manage the monitors in front of me. Trustees are welcome to use their camera as they wish. Everyone is encouraged to keep their microphone muted even when waiting for an answer to a question. As per all of our board meetings, this meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the hdsb.ca website. As these virtual meetings are long and very focused, I will be calling at least one 5-minute recess during the course of this evening. Rather than scrolling through all of the names to pick out the trustees at this time, I'm going to take roll call. Please answer as I call your name in alphabetical order by last name. Trustee Amos.
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Trustee Burns.
Yep, present.
Trustee Collard.
Here.
Trustee Daniele.
I am here.
Trustee Al Harrison.
Hello, I'm here.
I'm sorry, Vice Chair Al Harrison. Trustee Garrett.
Happy to be here.
Trustee Gray.
Yes, good evening.
Trustee Lau.
Here.
Trustee Oliver.
Good evening.
Trustee Reynolds.
Hello, everyone.
Trustee Rocha.
Good evening.
And Trustee Shuttleworth.
Hello, everybody.
Excellent. Director Miller, could you please note the senior staff that are here and any other staff that will be joining us on the Google Meet this evening?
Yep. Thank you, Chair Drabens. All superintendents and the Associate Director Bolger here this evening, along with Human Rights and Equity Advisor Jewel Amoa and General Manager Sari Taha. And I want to give a special shout out to student trustees Lau and Burns tonight, as this is their final one of the year. So we'll say more words later, but I just wanted to give a shout out now.
Thanks, Stuart.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's wonderful. I hate to do this, but I'm going to be back in 1 second. Okay. Sorry, children in the house. Okay. My children in the house. Okay, so moving on. June is National Indigenous History Month. There is so much that we all need to learn and understand. We must understand the true history of colonialism and the ongoing oppression of Indigenous people as a result of policies, practices, and systematic racism so that we can create change. It is our collective responsibility to listen, learn, and take forward action for real change. We must become well-versed in understanding the why behind the Truth and Reconciliation Commission calls to action and the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. A deeper understanding of colonialism and oppression will help us as we continue to work towards reconciliation. June 21st is National Indigenous Peoples Day. It is a day recognizing and celebrating the heritage, cultures, and contributions of First Nations, Inuit, and the Métis in what is now known as Canada. While this is a time to celebrate, we must continue to keep the truth at the forefront of our minds. In the past, the HDSB has engaged actions to support our collective responsibility, such as displaying the traditional land and territory acknowledgement that was developed by local knowledge keepers and members of the Halton Indigenous Education Advisory Council. It serves as a reminder of our responsibility to know and understand treaty rights, relationships, and our responsibility as treaty partners today. Our Voices Conference, Before and Beyond 150, Human Rights, Indigenous Realities Symposium in 2018. As we look towards June 21st and the meaning behind it, we celebrate the many achievements and contributions that Indigenous peoples have made and continue to make. While we continue to learn and work from a distance, it continues to be our responsibility to learn and understand our responsibilities as treaty partners. The HDSB will fly the Mississaugas of the Credit flag at JWS in recognition of National Indigenous Peoples Day. This serves as a reminder as to the importance of the work ahead. As Senator Murray Sinclair said, achieving reconciliation is like climbing a mountain. We must proceed a step at a time. It will not always be easy. There will be storms. There will be obstacles. But we cannot allow ourselves to be daunted by the task because our goal is just and it is also necessary. That was read during the final report of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in 2015. So this evening, Trustee Burns will be honoring the land.
Thank you, Chair Gerbents. Halton, as we know it today, is rich in history and modern traditions of many First Nations and the Métis. From the Anishinaabe to the Ottawandaron, the Haudenosaunee, and the Métis, these lands surrounding the Great Lakes are steeped in Indigenous history. As we gather today on these treaty lands, we have the responsibility to honor and respect the four directions: land, waters, plants, animals, ancestors that walked before us, and all the wonderful elements of creation that exist. We would like to acknowledge and thank the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation for sharing their traditional territory with us.
Thank you. Are there any declarations of possible conflict of interest this evening? I'm looking over to the speakers list. Seeing none. Next, we are up to the agenda. Before we put the agenda on the table, we have a couple of additions. First, there is a presentation this evening from Positive Spaces to support Pride Month. Secondly, an Equity and Inclusive Education Committee report was submitted by Trustee Reynolds and has been added to the package. So Trustee Rocha, would you like to move a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Yes, I would.
Thank you. Trustee Collard, would you like to second that motion?
Yes, thank you.
Is there any discussion at all on the agenda? Seeing none. Okay, if you would please go to your blue form to vote. There are 11 responses and it is unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, next we are up to our Inspire Award presentations this evening. A few years ago, the trustees of the Halton District School Board recognized that there were people within and outside of the organization who go above and beyond to support student achievement and well-being. Trustees wanted to honor the work of these people and created the HDSB Inspire Awards. Nominations are accepted all year round, and award presentations happen monthly during the school year. Recipients choose where they would like to receive their award, which could normally be in person at the JW Singleton Center, during a board meeting, or in one of our schools or other facilities. We have not been able to present any in-person awards since our facilities were closed as of March the 13th. Tonight, we will be honoring these exceptional individuals remotely. So everyone in the Halton District School Board community can nominate or be nominated. Families, neighbors, related organizations, staff, students, and school volunteers. The Inspire Award is given to an individual or group that is formally or informally associated with the Halton District School Board, who support our students and their achievements through exemplary caring, initiative, innovation, and creativity. Tonight, we have 18 recipients to honor. Normally, trustees present the awards to recipients, like hand them over, but this evening, the local trustees will be enlightening viewers with information as to why each individual was nominated and awarded an HDSB Inspire Award. Vice Chair Al Harrison will be presenting a slideshow that goes along with it so that you can see the people who are receiving their awards. So as per the agenda, we're going to start with those that were nominated in February. I'm just waiting for the presentation to come up. Hey, I can see it now. Yay. Okay, couldn't see it before. So our first award recipient is Melanie Childs, and it will be presented by Heather Garrett's trustee for wards 3 and 4, Milton.
Good evening, and thank you. Melanie Childs is a teacher at Anne J. MacArthur Public School. She demonstrates a sincere dedication to the well-being of her students and their families and considers these relationships as the foundation to her teaching. Students turn to Melanie for guidance and visit her on a daily basis. Melanie is an inspiration to her students, their families, and her fellow staff. Melanie, thank you very much for all that you do.
Congratulations. And now the next recipient is Karen Wells. And this will be presented by Margot Shuttleworth, trustee for Ward 4, Burlington. Trustee Shuttleworth, are you frozen? Yes. Shall we give her a few more seconds?
Trustee Shuttleworth is saying her mic won't unmute. Give her a second, please.
Okay, absolutely.
Okay, I think I've got, hold on, I gotta turn my computer off. Okay, there you go. All right, Karen Wells is a teacher at Ryerson Public School. Karen is a caring teacher with a vast amount of knowledge and experience working with students with special needs in a variety of self-contained classrooms, including life skills, communication programs, and currently the structured learning class. Karen is respectful and supportive of her students, their parents, and educational assistants. She is warm, patient, and caring. Karen and her team have created a calm and nurturing environment for students to feel safe and accepted. She is an inspiration to students, parents, and her coworkers. Congratulations to Karen.
Congratulations, Karen. The next recipient is Paige Bennett, and as chair, I will be presenting this award. Paige Bennett is an elementary instructional program leader in the Student Services Department at the New Street Education Center. She ensures that the needs of students with special needs are at the forefront. Paige is known for her commitment to CERT networking timelines, prompt responses, strategic response, and record keeping. Paige is a quiet leader whose calm focus and sunny disposition is valued by her team. Congratulations, Paige. The next award is to the Robert Little Before School Reading Program Team, presented by Jean Gray, trustee for Halton Hills.
Thank you. The Robert Little Before School Reading Team includes CERT Doreen Ottaway and EAs Bent Shohan, Heather Chacon, Courtney Fudger, Chelsea George, Tamara Litmko, Dana McKellar, Sandra Newell, Tara Service-Heimers, Deb Stroyan, Brittany Tenier, and Margot Welk. Through the Before School Reading Program, which began in the fall of 2018, this group offers support to students who are having difficulty reading, giving them a boost in their confidence and experience with reading. The team continuously demonstrates their passion through their profession and their love and care for their students and the school community. Each and every one of them are a true inspiration to students, their families, and their fellow staff members. Congratulations, team.
Congratulations. The next recipient is Janet Newcomb, presented by Joanna Oliver, trustee for Ward 4 in Oakville.
Good evening. Janet Newcomb is a volunteer at West Oak Public School. She has been part of West Oak Public School's community for 12 years. She has been an active member of the Parent Council during this time and has taken on roles that include secretary, treasurer, co-chair, and chair. Janet is an instrumental volunteer at West Oak, leading and organizing key activities such as the Move-a-thon, school pizza days, and staff appreciation lunch. She's a great representative of the school, is always available to help, and always does so with a positive attitude. Congratulations, Janet.
Congratulations. Our next Inspire Award will be presented to Lisa Serebrin, presented by Jean Gray, trustee of Halton Hills.
Thank you very much, Chair Grabentz. It's my honor to be able to present this award to Lisa Serebrin. Lisa is an elementary system principal in the School Programs Department at New Street Education Center. She inspires educators and administrators across the board and supports them with the resources and professional learning opportunities to ensure success. Where resources and learning opportunities don't yet exist, Lisa provides the vision and guidance to create them. She inspires fellow staff with her big picture thinking to ensure the HDSB continually provides a high standard education for all students. Lisa's team values her supportive and uplifting leadership style and how she makes the effort to form genuine relationships with all those around her. Congratulations, Lisa Serebrin. Thank you.
Congratulations. The next recipient is Susan Cloutier, presented by Tanya Rocha, trustee for wards 3 and 6 in Oakville.
Thank you, Chair Grabentz. Susan Cloutier is a volunteer at Iroquois Ridge High School. She goes above and beyond to support students and their families, contributing to their well-being, success, and achievement for the last 8 years. She heads the Parent Engagement Program at Iroquois Ridge High School and has for many years. An inspiration to students, parents, and staff, Susan's dedication to supporting students and their achievements and helping them to succeed show her caring and kindness at its best. Susan will be graduating this year from the Ridge team, but her volunteering will continue wherever she goes. It's part of the fabric that makes Susan who she is. Thank you, Susan, and congratulations.
Congratulations, Susan. Oh, good. Okay. Our next recipients are Tara Zawacki and Katie Benedict, presented by Margot Shuttleworth, trustee for Ward 4 Burlington.
Thank you. All right, Tara Zawacki and Katie Benedict, or Tara Zawacki is a designated early childhood educator, and Katie Benedict is the teacher. Together, they form an incredible kindergarten team at John T. Tuck Public School. They create engaging, thematic units guided by the interests of their students. They have done units on everything from bees to pirates. They invite guest speakers who do yoga, bring in beehives, or share First Nation stories. They are always looking to engage the kids in all that they do. Tara and Katie always go the extra mile in communicating and involving families by sending photos, inviting parents and guardians to celebrations, and including them as parent volunteers. Congratulations to Tara and Katie.
Congratulations. The next award recipient is Rory Pappin. And as trustee for Wards 3 and 6 in Burlington, I will be presenting this award. Rory Pappin is a math teacher at M.M. Robinson High School. He creates a welcoming and inclusive learning environment where all student needs are accommodated. Rory's positivity and sense of humor engages students and encourages them to challenge themselves, knowing that all students have different strengths. His lesson plans are innovative and comprehensive, with student well-being a top priority. Rory goes out of his way to make all students feel welcome and included by greeting them and engaging in conversation. He brightens everyone's day with his warm and friendly smile. Congratulations, Rory. Our next recipient, we're into March nominees now. Amanda Lynham, presented by Joanna Oliver, trustee for Ward 4 in Oakville.
Amanda Lynham is a teacher at Forest Trail Public School. Amanda has a unique ability to connect with every child and create an environment that is meaningful for them by taking the time to connect with the students' unique interests and skills. Parents appreciate how Amanda involves them in their children's learning and well-being at school, keeping them informed about how a student might be feeling or to celebrate a successful result on a presentation in class. Amanda creates a positive, dynamic, and stimulating learning environment for every child. Thank you, Amanda, and congratulations.
Congratulations, Amanda. Our next recipient is Renisha Spartalis, presented by Heather Garretts, trustee for Wards 3 and 4 in Milton.
Thank you, Chair Gerbentz. Renisha Spartalis is a teacher at P.L. Robertson Public School. She goes above and beyond to make her students feel comfortable and build their confidence. Students appreciate how she challenges them and provides them with opportunities to prepare for the future. Renisha motivates her students with daily speeches and makes them feel prepared and confident for their future. We want to say thank you and congratulations, Renisha.
Congratulations, Renisha. Now we are up to April nominees. And the first is Tori Marcel, presented by Donna Danielli, trustee for Wards 1 and 2 in Milton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is my pleasure and honor to introduce you to Toni Marcel. Tori is a child and youth counselor at Chris Hadfield School. She demonstrates professionalism in all aspects of her work and is always looking for additional ways to support students, educators, families, and colleagues. Tori's attention to detail and long-term thinking helps ensure the success of the students she works with. Tori is known to always celebrate the successes, big and small. Tori, thank you so much and congratulations.
Congratulations, Tori. The next recipient is David Pearson, presented by Tanya Rocha, trustee for Wards 3 and 6 in Oakville.
Thank you. David Pearson is a teacher at Oakville Trafalgar High School. He goes above and beyond to ensure students succeed. Parents and guardians appreciate how he helps students manage athletics along with their studies so they stay on schedule. He reaches out to families to ensure students have what they need to be successful. His creativity and dedication to his work is evident through his lesson plans. David is an inspiration to his students, their families, and his coworkers. Thank you, Mr. Pearson, and congratulations.
Congratulations, David. Our next recipient is Jennifer Black, presented by Donna Daniele, trustee for Wards 1 and 2 in Milton.
Thank you. It is my pleasure and honor to introduce you to Jennifer Black. Jennifer Black is a volunteer at Bruce Trail Public School. She is a dedicated and caring volunteer who has been a vital member of the Bruce Trail school community for many years, increasingly taking on new roles and responsibilities. Jennifer supports school food programs, volunteers in the classroom, helping teachers, and organizes learning resources for staff and students. Jennifer has been instrumental in organizing the school's annual Move-a-thon fundraiser to purchase new technology and make improvements to outdoor learning spaces. Her positive impact is inspiring to students, staff, and families. Jennifer, thank you so much and congratulations.
Excellent. Thank you, Jennifer, and congratulations. We are up to May nominees, and the first is Mark Dooley, presented by Amy Collard, trustee for Ward 5 in Burlington.
Thank you. Mark Dooley is the principal of Robert Bateman High School. He has shown tremendous leadership over the last 4 years at this school and has successfully supported staff and students in the transition from Bateman to Nelson and Burlington Central. He strives to support opportunities for students and staff to learn, grow, and succeed, and ensures all students learn in an inclusive environment. Each morning at school, Mark can be found greeting students in the foyer. He's been instrumental in the growth of project-based learning at the school and fundraising efforts. Mark's energy and commitment to student and teacher growth and well-being is an inspiration to the Bateman community. Congratulations, Mark, and best wishes to you in your future endeavors.
Congratulations, Mark. Our next recipient is Sandra Newell, presented by Jean Gray, trustee for Halton Hills.
Thank you, Chair Gerbentz. It's my honor to make this presentation to Sandra Newell. Sandra is an educational assistant at Robert Little Public School. Having spent 30 years as an educator, Sandra is someone who always offers her knowledge and support. She forms special relationships with students, making them feel safe and comfortable to grow. Students, families, and staff appreciate Sandra's kindness, patience, and positivity. She is an inspiration to her students and colleagues and has the unique ability to quickly develop a rapport with students, gaining their respect, trust, and admiration. Sandy celebrates student successes with a smile, a wink, or an exuberant "way to go." The ultimate professional, Sandy has wholeheartedly embraced Robert Little's before-school reading program for students who are struggling with reading acquisition as she works with young students each and every day. Congratulations, Sandra Newell.
Congratulations, and thank you, Sandra. And our last, but certainly not least, award recipient is Veronica Kleinsmith, and as chair, I will be presenting this award. Veronica Kleinsmith is currently the Specialist High Skills Major Board Lead at the New Street Education Center. At the time Veronica was nominated for this Inspire Award, she was an instructional program leader in the school's program department at the New Street Education Center. In this role, Veronica had been an advocate for tech ed in Pathways, Specialist High Skills Majors, SHISMs, and the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program, OYAP. She has been instrumental in the planning and development of numerous events and programs, such as the Halton Skills Competition, the Eddie's Film Festival, and curriculum and safety development opportunities. She has played a pivotal role in keeping tech ed classrooms well-maintained and safe. Her peers say she has not only provided them with the support and resources to do their jobs, but inspired them to be better teachers for students. Thank you and congratulations, Veronica. And congratulations to all the Inspire Award recipients for your outstanding support for Halton District School Board student achievement and well-being. I don't know if we can I think we're gonna end up with a lot of feedback. Let's do a wonderful wave for all our recipients. Woo! I don't know if they can see us, but we are all waving. For everyone watching this evening, please do continue to nominate people or organizations throughout the summer who support our students and their achievements through exemplary caring, initiative, innovation, and creativity. The nomination form is available on the hdsb.ca website. Oh, that was a nice, that's a nice way to have, it's nice to be part of our last regular board meeting, that's for certain. So moving along in our agenda, we have no delegations this evening, but as per our amended agenda, we do have one presentation this evening. So I'd like to ask either Superintendent Etoff or Principal Mary Marshall to introduce our guest this evening.
Thank you very much. We very much look forward to the opportunity to present to you this evening. Of course, June, as we know, is not only National Indigenous History Month, but it is also Pride Month. And therefore, we wanted to bring a special presentation to you this evening. And I'm going to turn it over to our Assistant Principal of Equity and Inclusion to tell us a little bit more about the learning that's been happening here in Halton, and then to introduce a special guest from the Positive Space Network. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Etoff. I'm pleased to be here tonight with you. June is Pride Month, and I'm here tonight to share with you work that has been ongoing throughout the year to support students who identify as 2S LGBTQI+, and more specifically this month to reaffirm and celebrate identities and contributions of 2S LGBTQI+ students, staff throughout our HDSB community and beyond. As a public school board, we engage in learning that recognizes and honors the experiences and contributions of a range of individuals and groups including diverse genders and sexualities. 2S LGBTQI education fits within our broader aim of safe and inclusive schools for every student and all of our community members. We have an obligation to represent all identities through our curriculum and to promote safety, respect, acceptance, and inclusion for all. Work undertaken by the Equity and Inclusive Education team over the past couple of years has included professional learning opportunities for educators from all elementary and secondary schools. These sessions focused on creating gender-expansive classrooms and 2S LGBTQI+ positive classrooms and schools. In addition to these learning opportunities for staff, schools also offer organizations and clubs for students who identify, as well as their allies. Not only do these groups provide safe spaces for our students, they are also advocacy groups within their school communities. Finally, annual GSA conferences are held for both elementary and secondary students and educators to expand their learning, share ideas, and engage in activities together. However, with school closures this year, these regional events were postponed. While our buildings have been closed, our schools have continued to demonstrate their commitment to this work in a number of ways. This year, elementary and secondary schools have flown the rainbow flag for the month of June. Flying the rainbow flag at HDSB schools is a symbol of support and recognition of 2S LGBTQI people in our board community, and also a show of support to those who have family and friends who identify. Flying the rainbow flag symbolizes that our schools are safe, respectful, and welcoming environments where our students and staff who identify as 2S LGBTQI are able to learn, grow, and succeed together. Normally at this time of year, our schools would be holding flag-raising gatherings, special assemblies, and other events in their schools to recognize Pride Month. This year, these events have shifted to an electronic mode of sharing what is happening in our schools and in our classrooms. From school-wide Pride Month calendars with information and links for all to access, to Google Classrooms highlighting literature that includes representation from this community. There is a demonstrated commitment on the part of all of our staff to engage in this important work. Earlier this month, the Equity and Inclusive Education team collaborated with staff at Positive Space Network to hold 2 drop-in sessions for educators. These sessions provided an opportunity to share information with HDSB staff about community services and resources available from PSN. Throughout the year, the team at PSN support educators and administrators as well as students and families through programs and resources for children, youth, and families. I'd like to acknowledge and thank the team at Positive Space Network for their ongoing commitment to collaborate with HDSB staff and work together to support students and their families. And at this time, I'd like to welcome and introduce Serena, PSN Resource Coordinator at Positive Space Network, to share more about their support and services. Serena, thank you for joining us tonight.
Cheers. Thanks for having me, folks. I appreciate it. So as Mary mentioned, my name is Serena Sarath, and I'm the Resource Coordinator for the Positive Space Network. So I'm just going to acknowledge Pride and also talk a little bit about what we do at the Positive Space Network. So June is Pride Month, as was mentioned. So it's acknowledging the disparities, the history, and the inequalities faced by members of the 2S LGBTQ+ community. For some of you who may know that protests began because of police brutality, and this was led by Black and brown trans women of color. So it's important to recognize the Black Lives Matters movement and understand intersectionality in the community. These movements are movements that are happening today and not just from the Stonewall riots. So what we do, right? So it's important to have spaces to have conversations about how our youth are being impacted and how they navigate the world, and what we are doing to reflect on our own understandings, some of the systemic practices at play. Are we able to amplify voices in the community and provide folks with allyship toolkits and resources? We acknowledge that we can't guarantee that a space is necessarily safe, but we can always strive to creating safer spaces that are informed and accessible. So our youth have built community and demonstrated resiliency. We work with a lot of youth in the region, which is really fascinating and fantastic. And what we see a lot of the times is them advocating for others. And when they come to our programs, they often say they feel like they belong and they feel affirmed in their gender identity, their sexuality, and can potentially explore and ask questions openly when it comes to participating in PSN. So right now, our platforms and programs have definitely changed. A lot of them were in person, mostly different times within the month after school. So now we offer a lot of online and virtual programming, and we seek to get a lot of engagement, which is fantastic. Transportation is definitely a barrier. And so that's been definitely alleviated with having the online platform. So we offer online programming and safer spaces for youth. We provide resources for parents and other organizational providers in the community. And we're also affiliated with the Reach Out Center for Kids. So we're under that big umbrella. And again, we have different community speakers, and we have conversations. We provide affirming spaces, and we understand the importance of calling out homophobia and transphobia that a lot of our youth may experience during their lifetime. And it's important to us to kind of create a system of supports and mentorship and resources, for example, like medical access that is sometimes difficult for our trans and non-binary youth. So with all that being said, I just leave you with 1 to 2 kind of quotes that we like to really put out there is being 2S LGBTQ+ doesn't make life hard. It is the oppression that makes life hard. And recognizing that everyone has a gender identity and a sexuality. So thank you for having me here today, and I appreciate having the chance to speak with you all. So.
Okay, thank you. I was wondering if there are any questions for Serena at all this evening. Well, actually, I have a question.
For sure.
And that is, if there are youth that are questioning, what is the and they're very shy. What is the best way to access your services in this pandemic sort of situation?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we can urge folks to either go online to our website, and myself and another coordinator, Joe, Joe's email is on there. Folks, if accessible to them, can DM us on some of our social media, being Facebook or Instagram, if that's what's comfortable. And then we can definitely have conversations and see what's a best fit in terms of, you know, speaking to that youth, because it may not be necessarily coming to a drop-in. So.
Okay, thank you. I see that there's a speaker on the speakers list, Trustee Daniele.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you so much for your presentation and also for the incredibly important work that you do. It is very much needed and very much appreciated. I was wondering if you could give us a little more detail. You spoke of an allyship toolkit, and that intrigued me, and I wondered if you could tell us a little bit more about that, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Donna. I appreciate that question. So as a resource coordinator, I definitely direct folks to some resources that are out there. So some really great allyship toolkits can be found on EGAL, EGAL Canada's website. So they do a lot of support in the community. They do a lot of research, and they have compiled a lot of resources on their website. And I think one is specifically noted as an allyship toolkit. Another website is Okay to Be Me, based out of Kitchener-Waterloo, and they have a lot of good resources. Not just allyship toolkits, but also talking about how to speak with youth about gender and sexuality, whether this be through like creative activities or through books, or other literature. So definitely some great stuff out there.
Thank you. May I have a follow-up, please?
Yeah, of course. Okay,
thank you. And Mary Marshall, at this, I've been doing equity work for a long time, and I was always LGBTQQI, and it seems to, I've heard you use a different acronym, and Mary Marshall used a different acronym that seems to have been updated. So I'm wondering if you can help me bring me into the present age and break down that for me so that I can use it correctly from going forward.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Donna. I know, like, still you'll find in different areas of North America or in the world that different acronyms are used still. We just noticed that language is always evolving and trying to find the best way to include everyone. So we use 2S LGBTQ+, so that continuum. So it used to just be LGBTQ+, so recognizing folks, Indigenous folks who are Two-Spirit, and then the long ancestral history. So that's why we often, in our programming, put it first. And you'll see often others do it as well. So.
Thank you very much for helping me learn tonight. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Donna.
Okay, so the next speaker is Trustee Gray.
Thank you very much, Chair Grubance. Through the chair to Serena, thank you so much for your presentation this evening. My question is whether your outreach is throughout all of Halton region and beyond, or is it just specifically parts of Halton? Thank you.
Thanks, Jeannie. I appreciate that. So we're mandated to service all of Halton. So with our drop-ins and programming, we would be in each city within Halton, rotating throughout the month. But oftentimes we recognize that we have different partnerships with other providers in Peel and in Hamilton, even going up to Kitchener-Waterloo. So if youth are able to get to the region, we offer it to anybody who is able to come to our programming. That's in person. So
Okay, great. And
Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Trustee Oliver?
Hi, Serena. Thank you so much for your presentation. And thank you for supporting our young people. I love your quote, and could you please repeat that again?
yeah. Thanks, Joanna. Yeah, it's one that often our therapist Shaden uses. So it's being 2S LGBTQ plus doesn't make life hard. It's the oppression that makes life hard. And again, that everybody, in this meeting and out there has a gender identity and a sexuality, right? So it's creating those spaces for conversation. Some of our youth experience cyberbullying, harassment, gendered violence, importance of talking about consent. So yeah, that's more than the initial quote, but just to throw that in there as well. So thanks, Joanna.
Okay, so there are no more speakers on the speakers list. I want to thank you so much for coming and presenting to us tonight. I can't even remember the last time we had someone from your organization, specifically Positive Spaces, here. So it's a really great and enlightening that you could be able to make it tonight.
I appreciate that. Thanks for having me in this space. So
thank you. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next item on our agenda. And so that is 3.0, the consent agenda items. So Trustee Amos, would you like to move a motion to deal with the consent agenda?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
Excellent. Trustee Shuttleworth, would you like to second?
Yes, I would. And my mic is working.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to put the motion on the floor. Be it resolved that the Halton District School Board approve the consent agenda action items and receive the information items for June 17th, 2020. Are there any items? I'm going to go through each item, and if you'd like it to be pulled, please put your name on the speakers list, okay? So the first, Vice Chair Al Harrison, I see that you've jumped on the microphone. Go ahead.
Did I jump on? Oh, okay. Pushing all the buttons here. Yes, I'd like to pull the order paper, please.
Okay. Before we get there, would anybody like to pull the minutes at all? Seeing none. Okay, so go ahead with the order paper, Vice Chair Al Harrison.
Oh boy, I need a moment. It's with respect to the motion about DISC training and just making a motion to amend something previously approved. Due to the pandemic, we've not been able to engage in that training by the end of May 2020, as it's noted. So that is motion M20-0012. So I, on your advice, in terms of timing, but would like to make a motion to amend that previously approved motion to remove May 2020 and either leave it blank or insert May 2021 to give us adequate time.
Okay, would anybody like to second a motion? We'll deal with putting it on sort of on the floor there. Second a motion to amend something previously adopted. So that's, I saw Trustee Oliver do that first.
I'll second.
I think we've got a seconder with Trustee Oliver because Vice Chair Harrison made the initial motion. So, okay, so the next, so we have it on the floor, and now the question is if we leave it sort of blank for a date, or if we have a date of perhaps next May, so May 2021. if we take let's take a quick vote on May 2021. So if you're in favor of May 2021, since that's the furthest date out, please, and you can vote no as well. If you could just use your form, that would be easier for me. I'm sorry. So I'm seeing, okay. So we have 1 no vote and 12 yes votes. And so trustee, just for a recorded vote, Trustee Collard didn't agree with, didn't vote for that 2021. So we will carry.
I thought this was a straw vote. I thought we were choosing between the two.
I guess I was using a new method that Vice Chair Harrison had sent out for filling in a blank. Yeah.
If this is an actual vote, then I vote yes.
Okay. So we'll excellent. Then that becomes a unanimous vote. We'll put in 2021. That gives us lots of time to deal with this. So that is the amendment. I guess we're going to now vote on the actual motion itself to amend something previously adopted. And Vice Chair Harrison, could you read out the full motion, including the amendment?
Of course. So the previous number was M200012, just for reference. And the motion is, be it resolved that the Halton District School Board approve the use of up to $3,000 inclusive of HFST from the reserve account for trustee professional development for trustees to participate in DISC training part 2. This training will be scheduled to occur by the end of May 2021. And
okay. Excellent. So all those in favor of the new motion, please vote on in your little blue app. Okay, just missing one more.
Chair
Okay.
Gerbens,
Yes.
could you tell me the mover and the seconder of the amended motion, please?
Oh, the mover. Oh, it was Vice Chair Harrison moved it, and Trustee Oliver seconded.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mystery voice. I don't have you on my screen right now. Okay. So, is there anything else on the order paper that anybody would like to discuss? Okay, seeing no one on the speakers list. The capital update. Anybody have anything for the capital update? Looking at the speakers list. Seeing nothing. Interim financial report as of May 31st, 2020. Anybody have any? Nope. Okay. So, we're going to then, I'll just reread the question, which is, be it resolved that the Halton District School Board approve the consent agenda action items and receive the information items for June 17th, 2020. And that was moved by Trustee Amos, seconded by Trustee Shuttleworth. And all those in favor, please use your voting form. And that carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Excellent. Okay, so now we are up to 4.0 ratification action items. Vice Chair Harrison, do we have any business from private session that requires approval?
Yes, in fact, we do. We have two separate motions. The first one is, be it resolved that the Halton District School Board approve the resolution from the June 17th, 2020 meeting in private session respecting negotiations Report 20066, and I so move.
Trustee Reynolds, will you second that motion?
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Okay, is there any discussion at all? I'm assuming none. All those in favor, please use your voting form. And that carries unanimously. Thank you very much. And your second motion? Vice Chair Harrison, we can't hear you.
There's a trick. Sorry about that. Be it resolved that the Halton District School Board approve the resolution from the June 17, 2020 meeting in private session respecting negotiations, report 20067, and I so move.
Excellent. Trustee Garretts, would you like to second that motion?
Yes, I would. Thank you very much. Did it go through? Yes, I would.
Is everybody voting? There we go. All of a sudden the votes are coming in. Okay, and that carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, onwards and upwards. As per our agenda, we have 5 action items this evening. So I would like to draw your attention to item 421, Transportation Policy Review, report 20054 on page 20 of your board package. I brought this report, so I will move it. Trustee Garretts, would you like to second?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
Excellent. I'm going to put the motion on the floor. Be it resolved that the Halton District School Board approve the revised transportation policy as appended to report 20054. As you know, there was really some tightening of the words around eligibility. That was the main change to this. So are there any questions at all? I know I answered a few last week and a few individually. Looking to the speakers list. Okay, seeing none, all those in favor. And that carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, so now we're on to our next item. I have to flip the page here. I'd like to draw your attention to 422 Fraud Prevention Policy, report 20055 on page 22 of your board package. Trustee Gray, would you like to move this?
Yes, I would, please.
Excellent. Trustee Reynolds, would you like to second this motion?
Yes, I'd like to second it.
Excellent. I am going to put the motion on the floor. Be it resolved that the Halton District School Board approve the fraud prevention and management policy as appended to report 20055. Trustee Gray, would you like to speak to this?
Yes, I would, through the chair. Thank you. This came up 2 weeks ago, and again, this report is the result of the work of the audit committee, and we know that this report has made it back to legal and has come back to us, and so it is in fine shape for consideration this evening, and prepared to answer any questions that anyone may have at this time. Thank you.
Okay, we do have Vice Chair Harrison on the speakers list. Go right ahead.
Thanks very much. through you, Madam Chair, to Trustee Gray. I was just wondering if you can say how this policy will work with volunteers and how will volunteers be made aware of this policy?
I defer that question to Superintendent Roxana Nagoy, please.
Good evening, trustees. With regards to communication of the policy, we will be posting it on the website. We will be sharing it with the contractors and schools as well as volunteers. It will be a little bit different from school to school, or volunteers that will be in more central programs, but it is something that we will be making it available on our website and communicating it broadly.
Thank you.
Okay, great. There are no other speakers on the speakers list, so I am going to call the question. Could everybody please go to their voting form? And that carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, we are now, I'd like to draw your attention to item 423, Special Education Plan, Report 20063 on page 25 of the board package. Trustee Oliver, would you like to move this?
Yes, I would like to move this motion.
Thank you. Trustee Shuttleworth, will you second this motion?
Yes, I will. Thank you very much.
Excellent. I'm going to put the motion on the table. Be it resolved that the Halton District School Board approve the Special Education Plan 2020-2021 contingent on approval of the 2020-2021 budget. Superintendent Zonnefeld, would you like to speak to this at all?
Sure. Good evening, trustees. Through the chair, this came to you back in February as a first draft of the special education plan for the 2021-22 school year, and it has had a few revisions since you last saw it to reflect slight changes in programs and services for the upcoming school year and for the anticipated budget. And to also say that it has been to SEAC and was supported by SEAC as well coming forward tonight. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. I'm looking to the speakers list. I see no speakers, but I have a question, and that is, should the budget be quite different than we expect, what would happen to this special education plan?
To the chair, we will revise the plan as per the budget, and SEAC is aware of that, so that it is reflective of what the final determination of the budget. The intent of the plan is to keep our families, our staff, our communities well informed about our programs and services that we provide for students with special needs. So it will be revised appropriately.
Okay, thank you very much. I see no other speakers on the speakers list, so I'm going to call the question. So if everybody could go to their voting form. And that carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, so next I would like, just 1 second, technical stuff. Okay, I'd like to draw your attention to item 424, amendment to the Milton boundary review date. Report 20064 on page 29 of the board package. Trustee Garrett, would you like to move this?
Yes, I'd like to move this motion, please. Thank
Excellent. You. Trustee Daniele, would you like to second this motion?
Yes, thank you, I would.
I'm going to read the motion, put it on the floor, and then I expect Director Miller will speak to it. Okay, be it resolved that the Halton District School Board rescind motion M19-0173 with the intent to amend something previously adopted, M19-0016, to reflect the current timelines for the proposed boundary review for the new Milton Southwest No. 1 High School. Be it resolved that the Halton District School Board amend something previously adopted, specifically M19-0016, to reflect revised timelines for the new Milton Southwest No. 1 High School. Be it resolved that the Halton District School Board amend M19-0016 to reflect revised timelines for the new Milton Southwest No. 1 High School due to delays in construction timelines and the impact on the construction process of the COVID-19 pandemic, and that the boundary review be completed no later than October 2020. Director Miller, go right ahead.
Thank you, Chair Drabentz. Associate Director Bogue will do most of the speaking on this, as he is one of the co-chairs for the actual boundary review committee. But the primary reason is we have been unable to have an appropriate public meeting so that the public could weigh into the options that have been created by the boundary review committee. So I'll turn it over to Associate Director Bogue to see if he has any further to add around that.
Thanks, Director Miller. Yeah, as trustees know, we have a wonderful boundary review committee that's been working very hard. We got sidelined with the pandemic, just at the point where we were ready to do our public consultation meeting. So we did have a plan to try to move ahead in a virtual capacity, and we just didn't think that that was fair. If we can, certainly that face-to-face opportunity would be, we thought was more appropriate. By deferring to the fall, we can still wrap this up by late October. We would get going early in the fall, in September, in fact, and we would do the appropriate communications with our community around that so that we could carry on with the public meeting, have our last boundary review meeting, and get a recommendation to trustees. So from a timing perspective, I think this still works perfectly fine and would still mesh with the timeline for the opening of the school.
Thanks, Associate Director Bogue. And I would invite his co-chair on the boundary review committee, Trustee Oliver, if she has anything to add to this conversation.
Thank you, through you, Chair. I have nothing to add except to just confirm that we felt strongly that it was important to involve and engage the Milton community fully in this boundary review. They've done a great job leading up to the school closure and period, and it's important to keep that momentum or resume that momentum when we're allowed to do so and get their full input into the scenarios and their preferences. Thank you.
And we're done, Chair Drabentz. Questions?
Okay, are there any questions or any debate on this? Looking to the speakers list. Seeing none, I'm also glad that we're taking some motions and being a little more efficient, compressing them. Okay, so if you could please go to your voting app and submit your preference, that would be wonderful. I'm just missing one so far. Still missing one. Oh, there we go. And then it carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Wonderful. Okay. And then finally, I'd like to draw your attention to the last item, action item for this evening, which is 425, deferral to multi-year plan and operational plan. Report 20065 on page 30 of your board package. I will move this. Vice Chair Al Harrison, will you second this motion?
Yes. I will.
Excellent. Wonderful. So I'll read the recommendation to put it on the floor. Be it resolved that the Halton District School Board defer the approval of the 2020-2024 multi-year plan and therefore the resulting operational plans to no later than the end of October 2020. So I'll just take a moment to speak a bit to this, since the multi-year plan falls under the trustee purview. Though we have worked very collaboratively so far, of course, with the senior team, and it's been great. But and much work has already been done, has already gone into forming the next multi-year plan, including the broad consultation we had, using the outside consulting firm. We've consulted students, staff, and community members. And the COVID-19 pandemic and resulting emergency shutdown of the province's schools and workplaces has had an impact on further discussions and consultations required to finalize our multi-year plan and the resulting operational plans. Further, the current global scenario may give rise to additional consultation and considerations for the plan. So because of the timing of the multi-year plan and the resulting operational plans, because they're outlined in the board planning and preparation schedule administrative procedure, it was determined that a motion to defer the approval of these two documents would be appropriate. Director Miller, do you have anything to add to that?
I have nothing to add with, through you, sorry, Chair Drabens, through you, Chair Drabens, to all trustees. I have nothing to add to your comments about the multi-year plan. We concur entirely with your remarks. We need to have some more public input and there may be some changes. However, this is the beauty of being a director. I will defer to Associate Director Bo to talk about the operational plan. There's similar reasons, but this is why it's great to be a director. David?
And I would certainly support the chair's comments as well around the deferral. I think we have a great multi-year plan right now that I think we've still been following. We'll follow that into the fall. And as trustees know, we've made some great headway on the new multi-year plan. So I think that's provided us with a focus. If we are able to finalize that multi-year plan in the fall, sometime in September, October, we can pull the operational plan together in short order. Because we do know what those areas are already, and we're thinking about those in the context of budget conversations coming up. So that won't be an issue as well. We'll be a little behind where we had planned to be, but we'll be in good shape to move forward.
Okay, are there any questions at all or debate? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? My thing just froze. There we go. Nope. Thank goodness for a touch screen. Okay. Excellent. That carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay. So now we are up to communications to the board. First off is item 5.1, student trustee reports. Trustee Lau and Trustee Burns, as this is our last regular board meeting for the school year, do you have a final student trustee report for the 2020 school year?
We do.
We do indeed.
Go right ahead.
Thanks very much, Chair Vance. So good evening, everyone, for the final time. It's hard for me to believe that this year has come to a close so quickly. It's kind of felt like there's always something to talk about this year, and I think that's helped to contribute to the feeling I hold that our term has just absolutely raced by. Yet despite that pace we've felt all year, Trustee Lau and I have also managed to learn as much as we can from our experiences as student trustees. For my part, I've improved in my communication, put more effort into preparation, and expanded my ability to work in groups of all sizes in the goal of improving the HGSB community in any way that we can. From the very start of my term, the uncertainty and nervousness that comes with stepping into this new role has been met with nothing but patience, kindness, and respect from every single board member that I've spoken to. Throughout my time on the board, I've always felt that my voice as the representative opinion of the students of this board has always been prioritized in every matter that we've ever discussed, should I choose to use my voice. Trying to thank everyone that has helped Trustee Lau and myself in the past year would probably keep us all here for a while, but this year wouldn't have been possible without the support of the entire Board of Trustees, superintendents, our Student Senate, Susan Thrasher, Kevin Raposo, and especially our mentors, Jay Poitras, Louisa Botello, and Ryan Henderson on the staff side, as well as Trustee Shuttleworth for her time as a trustee mentor at the beginning of the year, and Trustee Daniele and Trustee Oliver for being with us as the year has come to a close. Your help has been truly instrumental in making this year a success in spite of our circumstances, and it's been absolutely incredible to work with everyone here. Out of the 18 years that I've been alive, I've been in the HGSB for 14 of them. And as this year concludes, I get a bittersweet feeling thinking that this is my last in the HGSB. For all of the learning and growth in the academic, social, and emotional variations that I've undergone throughout all of those 14 years, I've always felt at home in this board, no matter what. But I'm also excited to start the next chapter of my life at UC Berkeley in California. There are so many more things that I wish I could say that would all be just as genuine and express the same emotions that I've tried to express in this report. But in the interest of time, I'd like to say one last thank you, and for the last time, pass it off to Trustee Lau.
Oh my gosh, I don't want to start because then it's going to end. Okay. Okay. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank everyone who has believed in Matt and I over the past year. This position has truly changed my life more than any other experience I've ever had in my 17 years of living. And I was thinking when I was writing this report, I was thinking about who I was a year ago. And I remember that I was a girl full of ideas, but also filled with a lot of insecurity, anxiety, and doubt. And flash forward to the present day, and I can genuinely say that I learned a lot about how to put my well-being first, how to be a fierce leader, especially as a younger female in the space. And most importantly, I learned that it's okay to step back sometimes and ask for help. Matthew and I have definitely had a wild ride. Our term has seen labor action and the COVID pandemic and protests. But despite all of that, we are so proud to be able to look back on all of the initiatives that we've worked so hard to accomplish. The climate emergency declaration, student communication efforts, my work on the period poverty subcommittee, planning for the HYLS, and perhaps the most daunting but rewarding of them all, getting to lead over 90 student leaders once a month on the Student Senate. So no matter how many years go by or how far I travel away from this board, I will always hold the HDSB close to my heart, and I'll never forget how this position shaped me into the person I am today. And so with that, that officially concludes Student Trustee reports for the Student Trustee 2019-2020 term. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go to the speakers list immediately. Trustee Daniele, go right ahead.
Thank you very much. Through you, Madam Chair. Olivia and Matt, I have worked with a large number of student trustees over the years. But this year, with the two of you, has been historic. I don't think any other student trustees in the history of student trustees have had to deal with labor strife, snow days, protests, pandemic. And through it all, you kept your grace, you kept your dignity, and you kept moving forward, and you kept bringing the student voice and the student agenda to the forefront at every single opportunity. You didn't let anything throw you, not even having to move the timing of the student trustee election for the first time this year. You handled it all, and you handled it well. This year, you saw the very first representatives from a CE program join the Student Senate. I believe this was the first year that you had representation from Gary Allen at the Student Senate. The work that you did to reach out to all students, especially those grades 7 to 12 and involved in the Student Senate, has been absolutely remarkable. When you add on to that the work that you did moving forward, first as aware, and then moving forward on issues such as period poverty and the climate declaration, and the way you brought in other members of the Senate to help support those, it really has been truly historic this year, but it has also been an incredible pleasure to work with both of you, to watch from when you began at the beginning of last year to see the two incredible human beings that you are right now. It gives me hope for the future and helps me know that, we're doing something right in the Halton District School Board if we're able to produce not only such amazing students, but two such incredible student trustees as yourself. So it has been my pleasure and my honor to work with you this last year, and I wish you all the best for the future. And please don't be a stranger. Please stay in touch. We will miss you, and we thank you for everything that you've done. God bless you both.
Thank you so much.
Next speaker is Trustee Oliver.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, to Trustee Lau and Trustee Burns. Olivia and Matthew, when I had the pleasure of assuming the role of a student trustee mentor in January, I looked forward to many, many weeks and opportunities to work with you and to observe the Student Senate in action. Who knew that in addition to all the challenges of this school year, a pandemic would get in the way of that? However, true to your spirits, you both persevered and continued to work to make sure that what you set out to accomplish when you started your term would get accomplished indeed. You also took every opportunity to bring student voice to the board meetings and to continue to advocate for students during this challenging time. You both set out acknowledging the significant impact and importance of climate change, and you worked on a motion to declare a climate emergency, the first such declaration to be student-led. I'm very honored and pleased to have been able to, albeit peripherally, support you in this endeavor. I watched you collaborate with the Student Senate, where you provided great leadership, and I'm very glad that despite school closures, you were able to hold your final meeting by video conference, where you provided all the senators the opportunity to help finalize your motion. This is a great legacy that you leave at the Halton District School Board. Matthew and Olivia, it was a pleasure to work with you both and to see your smiling faces across the boardroom and more recently on screen. Olivia, good luck in grade 12 next year. And Matthew, you are graduating this month. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All the very best in your post-secondary endeavors. Make it count. Have a relaxing and healthy, happy summer, you two. And please do stay in touch.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Trustee
you
Oliver.
so much.
Really.
Okay, our next speaker on the speakers list is Trustee Shuttleworth.
It's working. This is short and sweet. Trustee Lau, Trustee Burns, Matt, and Olivia, it's been so great sitting next to you at the board table. I always enjoy coming in and always asking Matt, so updates on the university, see how it's going. And just hearing the regalings of what's been happening at the Senate, the emails from both of you, everything. It's just, I know I was only your trustee mentor for the beginning, but I still really enjoyed working with you. And Olivia, because you're still around next year, I really hope to see you sometimes in the gallery to give us a little hello. So Matt, best of luck next year. I know you're going to succeed in whatever you do. So thank you so much to both of you for putting in such a great effort.
Thank you so much. And I definitely will.
Yeah, and I'll make sure to follow that advice too. Thank you, Trustee Shuttleworth.
And you need to give me updates still.
I'll do my best.
Okay, Director Miller, would you like to say something?
I would indeed, Chair Drabens. So Olivia and Matthew, student trustees, Lau and Burns, I cannot believe how easy you guys had it this year. You only had to contend with labor issues, pandemics, protests, all sorts of stuff. What the heck were you guys doing all this time? Now, actually, guys, I think you have shown your mettle. This was a challenging year, and Trustee Daniele said it. I can't believe all the things that we've had to contend with this year. And as student trustees, you have kept your head and represented the students of this board admirably and honorably, and brought their voice to this table. But you also brought it to the senior administrator table as well. Your work on climate change, your work on period poverty, these are part of your legacies. And so, you can be very proud of your work. We're really proud of you, but we're glad to see you go. Take some of those labor problems and pandemics with you when you go. But so, Olivia, you're at White Oaks next year. I will pop over to visit you, but I'm really looking forward to popping over to see Matthew in California. So anyway, guys, you've been fantastic. Really enjoyed working with you. Really appreciate it. And sometimes student trustees feel like, for us, that you feel like students. You guys felt like peers. You felt like our colleagues. So I think that's great. Well done, you guys, and all the best in the summer. And next
Thanks
year.
so much, Director Miller.
You're welcome.
Well, I don't know what I could say on top of what everybody said, but I've really enjoyed working with you. I've really enjoyed seeing the passion in the two of you. We've had some good conversations, and it's always great having the student voice, and I always feel like the students are way more articulate than I am, and and you've shown it again this year as well. So thank you so much, and I know you're going to have a great year next year, Olivia, and I hope you have a fantastic time in California, Matthew. I've never been there myself, so I'm sure it'll be wonderful, and I can't imagine being in summertime all day long, all year long. So thank you again. And I think that I can mention that you should be looking to your email boxes at some point in the near future for something that's coming to you on behalf of the board. So,
oh, I got that. Thank you so much. At first I thought it was a scam, but then I was like, wow, that's so sweet. Thank you, everyone.
Wait, that's real?
Yeah, it's real. Okay.
I thought it was one of those emails asking for Amazon gift cards or something like that.
Well, I'm glad I mentioned something.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh my goodness. Oh well, we're going to move forward at this point, but thank you again for everything you've done for this board. Okay, so on to 5.2 for action next board meeting. So even though this is the final regular board meeting for the Halton District School Board, the Board of Trustees will need to hold at least two, probably hopefully just two, special board meetings this summer to consider the budget for next year. So normally we would have had the budget come for the first time after having committee of the whole, et cetera, prior to that, but for the first time it would have been on June 3rd, and tonight would have been the night that we would have considered it for approval. But the GSNs have not even been released yet, so we cannot have a budget yet. So, and of course, that's due to the unprecedented circumstances surrounding COVID-19. So we understand from the Minister of Education that GSN should be coming very soon. And hopefully that means this week. So it will be no small task for our financial services department headed by Superintendent Nagoy to take the GSNs when they arrive, to put them to apply them to our potential budget and form a draft budget for us to consider. And considering the budget in previous years has been about $740 million, it's not just a day or two kind of job. So the director is asking that trustees hold probably the 15th and the 22nd of July in their schedule, if possible. But to also be flexible because we don't know for certain if we will have everything in place to consider the budget. We'll also need to add in some time there, a committee of the whole, to discuss the budget. And also, please make sure you, well, we've done a survey with regards to the timing. It may not be Wednesday at 7 p.m. It may be at another time. So please, we ask the public to pay attention to the website for details. And the trustees will be served notice as per our bylaws. Director Miller, I note you have something to say.
In this director's report now, yeah? Or just on that?
That was just on that. We have no information items for this evening. Are there any notices of motion this evening? Nope. So now it's the director's report. Go right ahead.
So all I was going to add to what Chair Durbin said is the meetings do not have to be in the evening in July as long as we give notice. So we would make sure that we would try to accommodate people because the summer months are always challenging, just as long as we give public notice as to when they are. And hopefully, as Chair Durbin says, the 15th and 22nd will be all we need, but we'll probably have to have a more in-depth conversation at a committee of the whole like meeting. I don't know if it really be committee of the whole, but that too would have to be a public meeting as well. So sorry to make everybody work in the summer, but I don't think education will be the only ones working in the summer this year. And we certainly won't be the only board. So on the director's report tonight, we have our usual COVID update. We have a COVID update. We have a learning continuity update. And we have a returning to school update. None of them should be too long because there's not a lot of changes. We're in the rhythm and we're into the second last week of school. But I will first turn it over to Superintendent Ruddock around a COVID update.
Thank you, and through the chair to trustees. I'm really pleased to say that since we started giving these updates in March, tonight will be the shortest, and it's certainly, as Director Miller says, it's a reflection of the evolution of the work. And as we've kind of found our way through all of this, we're now at a place where we're operating quite smoothly as we enter the final week of school. Before I turn it over to Director Miller, or Associate Director Bogue, though, I would like to take a moment to thank the work of this team because it really was a strong team effort to lead and be a part of this work. So in addition to the senior team, I just would also like to thank Kim Thirsk, Dave Bennett, Judy Goldsworthy, Karen Lacroix, Mary Marshall, Carrie Salemi, Terry Janik, Heather Camastro, Marnie Denton, and Jim Mower. They were all instrumental in leading us through this pandemic. And so thank you to all of them. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Associate Director Bogue.
Thanks, Superintendent Ruddock. And I just have a very brief update on behalf of the Continuity of Learning group. I've shared some data there for trustees for our, from our distance learning survey. It's been open about a week. We've got a pretty good response so far, and you'll notice that we've got lots of translated responses as well, which is really good to see. We translated the survey into 13 different languages. It'll be open for another week or so, and we'll certainly update trustees with final results, and that those results will help shape our planning for the next school year. Two quick pieces around report cards for any parents that are out there viewing. Our elementary reports will go home on June 24th, and families will need their child's OEN number, and they can find that on a previous report card, or they can access that through the HTSP website. And secondary report cards will be mailed home on July the 3rd. With one exception around our IB kids. We're still waiting on the IB organization, and those reports will go home on July 6th. And that's it from Continuity of Learning.
I think I'm next, speaking about supports for students with special needs. So pleased to report 3 initiatives for families this summer. First are our summer learning opportunities. We have over 75 opportunities for students, which we're really thrilled to offer. These will be going out soon to parents for the opportunity to sign up. So over 20 different programs, and some of them being offered more than once. That's why there's over 75 different opportunities for a range of students with a variety of profiles. So all these programs are virtual. There'll be 3 blocks, each running for 2 weeks, and they're a half day each. Parents will be registering on a first come, first serve, but we're really going to try and make sure that if we can to offer something for everyone. So we'll try to open up more opportunities depending on the number of students being signed up. And these are focused on students with an IEP. Also, we're planning on transition supports at the end of August. And with these, we are allocating budget to each school to be able to use to have staff work with students on transition plans that they've developed for each student. So the staff may involve teachers, self-contained teachers, CERTs, EAs. It all depends on the plan that the school develops to help transition their students back. So that planning is underway as well. And then finally, social work supports for our students to support their mental health needs. So we have a range of services that we've also planned for students and families, and they can be either referred through their school resource team and also be self-referred. So supports for students with autism and developmental disabilities, students who identify as coming, they're Indigenous, Black, racialized, differently abled, 2SL, LGBTQ, IA+, or from other identified communities. Plus students on our current caseloads, students that might need some crisis support, and then supports for parents and students as peers in the transitions in August. So all of these opportunities have been available through quite a bit of funding from the ministry due to the pandemic. And all of these will be shared with SEAC after this evening. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Seeing no questions.
Okay, and through the chair, for the contingency planning, I want to thank all the trustees for reaching out to our schools, offering videos and shout outs. I really appreciate that. Schools are about to polish up their slide decks, and I know it's been a lot of work for some of you, particularly those that have 20 schools to worry about. But I think you'll be pleased with the events. And as you've seen tonight with one of the signs, they were launched as well this month. We're really excited about celebrating the class of 2020, whether it's kindies, grade 5, grade 8, or grade 12. And really excited for the Gail's work, Gail Gortmaker's work, coming up with the retirement as well. So thank you very much for all of your support on those contingency plans.
Okay, seeing no questions.
I think back to school with, I think Scott's doing it.
Yeah. Good evening, trustees. In terms of the return to school or back to school report, just, there's high level of speculation. I know many of you have seen the Sick Kids report that came out, which talks about three kind of stages, and we've seen this emerging for a while around the enhanced cleaning protocols only, with a largely regular return, a return with social distancing, which may mean cohorts and smaller amounts of students in schools. Sorry, that's my dog there. Or just full online. We've been aware of these for a while, so we have contingencies in place, and we'll be developing those for all three. Knowing there will be a lot of implementation coming August, regardless of the scenarios or the chosen pathway of the ministry, we've created school teams at every school implementation teams. There are multiple work groups involved in these, and principals will be chairing them across all of our schools. So those are in place now to deal with the implementation as it rolls out. Similarly, we continue to engage with trustees through our trustee advisory group, and we'll do so throughout July. Additionally, we have all of the union and association affiliates involved in a weekly advisory group as well, so that they're on board and not surprised by anything that emerges from the planning as well. We feel that's very important, and I know they feel valued and an important piece of that as well. So we are continuing to plan through the month of July, pending the ministry's plans. We expect it will refine throughout the summer, leading up to a mid-August final determination. At that point, we are planning a final communication to all of our parent and community stakeholders, and we'll have even a more detailed version for all of our staff. So we are looking to hit the send button on a very comprehensive communication to everyone at that point, and then those school action teams I mentioned earlier will kick into full action mode, readying for students in September. I think it is safe to say we'll see students back in our schools in September in some form. I think, which is what people want to hear. So we're ready for that. The scenarios haven't caught us off guard in any way, shape, or form. We kind of predicted those since around April. So that's where we are there. I don't know, Trustee Grevence, if you want to comment at all around the work of the Trustee Advisory Group.
The trustees have formed a letter as per our motion at the last meeting, and that letter is actually attached to this agenda package if anybody's interested in reading it. It was many hands as usual that were part of that, and I appreciate everybody's input.
If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Seeing no questions.
Okay, it's back to me, Chair Grevence, I assume. So the first thing I'd like to do is, this is the last board meeting of the, well, this would be the last board meeting of the school year, but we still have a couple more to go, at least 2 more to do, actually, around budget and so on. But I want to acknowledge the work of the senior team. On March 13th, everybody walked out of that building at JWS and/or New Street, and we didn't know where we were going. And over March break, the senior team, the superintendents, myself, associate director, were putting in 13, 14, 15-hour days in trying to sort through what we were supposed to do, how we were going to do it, how we were going to support kids, how we were going to support staff, how we were going to do all the things we had to do. And of course, those were heightened days, March through probably till the end of April. We've had to contend with a lot of challenges technically. We've had to contend with challenges that our students have faced and tried to support them. We've had to contend with some of the challenges our families have faced and tried to contend with them and support them. And I would be saying if we were 100% successful, I would not be telling the truth. There were a lot of hiccups along the way. There continue to be a lot of hiccups, and there are lots of points of criticism of the work of what we've done. But I can assure the trustees that we did our best. We did our best in the circumstances we were faced with, and we did our best given the many things we had to contend with. And I'm so proud of the senior team for the work that they have done. I am particularly proud of Colette Ruddock, who basically carved out a whole new portfolio at this time. The health portfolio in the past has spent its time suspending kids who didn't have vaccinations. That's not what this became. And Colette led us through, with her leadership, with the COVID committee, through a million different things. And I just wanted to publicly acknowledge, she acknowledged the staff that worked with her. It's time I acknowledge the work that she did. So well done, Colette. And we know we're not out of the woods yet. We know that there's a great deal of work to do, and that we have much to do. And you know, clearly we have a lot to do around the pandemic, getting kids back in school and so on. But our priority next year has got to be inclusion, anti-Black racism, anti-Indigenous racism. It has to be our priority, and we have to be able to do it in the context of however kids are going to be in school next year, whether it's whatever option is finally determined by the Ministry of Education. So now, having said all that, I want to turn over to some good news stuff. So I am going to turn it over to, I think it's an opportunity for us to showcase a couple of things as well. So I will turn it back to Superintendent Newton to talk about our virtual prom, which was, funny enough, was a subject of criticism by some, and was not what people wanted, but boy, they got a really great show. So Superintendent Newton.
Thank you, Director Miller, and through the chair. Thank you very much for any of you who happened to put on your heels and hoodies that evening as well, last Thursday night. Happy to report that we had over 1,900 viewers, and I'm sure a few of those folks had a few people over in their backyard with social distancing enjoying the show. We worked with a phenomenal group of people that encouraged students to send in shout outs, send in photos, and participate for prizes that talked about engagement and positive mojo that they were sending fellow people. So it was truly a collaborative evening. I think it worked out really well. And I really wanted to thank Principal Brent Cockwell from Blakelock, who was very creative and part of that team. 3 teachers who led all the teachers in Halton that run student councils to get kids involved. And that's Kate, Victoria, and Rhiannon. And we also had the likes of a music teacher, unbelievable, at Milton District with Chris Carson Foster, who many would say the student DJ that performed actually performed better than the professional one that was also hired. So we really was a showcase of student talent. And we hope with the work of Kyle Hume, was also a teacher that helped out with that as well. And really couldn't have done it without Kevin Raposo, with his extraordinary talents that you've seen over and over and over again. He has been truly teaching us so much through 2020. And the virtual prom was an amazing showcase of kids' talents, engagement, and we're not going to lie. Initially, when we launched it, people thought that this was hokey and we're not doing it and this is crazy. And in the end, to know that over 1,900 viewers were on there, I would measure that as a success. So I thank you for your support and faith in doing that too. Gord this evening has a great video that he would like to showcase that shows what kind of graduates we have in this school system. One girl particularly with optimism, gratitude for the Halton District School Board and her school, and obviously one of great resilience. And so I turn it back to Director Miller and Superintendent Truffin to share this wonderful news piece that was featured on CTV Morning Show.
Yeah, I'll go straight to Superintendent Truffin.
Yeah, I'll put it up. Thank you very much.
All right, we also want to introduce you to a graduate who had her prom last night virtually. She attends Iroquois Ridge High School in, well, she's almost done Iroquois Ridge High School in Oakville, Ontario. Nadej Banff, good to have you with us this morning. I think we have you back. Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome. How did it go last night?
It went really, really well. It was a virtual prom. And so there were different events leading up to the actual virtual prom. Like there was a glow up challenge and there was a promposal challenge. And so these were kind of events to get people from the entire school board involved in the virtual prom. And then last night there were different celebrity shout outs. There were live performances. There was a DJ. And we heard from an LA Clippers player. We heard from Chris Hadfield as well. So it was really cool to bring students and parents and teachers alike kind of together to celebrate such an incredible moment for grade 12.
Wait, Nadej, I have a question. All of that sounds amazing. There are still promposals happening even during the pandemic. And if they're doing a promposal, how do you actually attend the prom with them?
Yeah, it was actually funny because a lot of promposals this year were more geared towards the 6 feet apart concept. And so people were promposing kind of 6 feet apart. And so those were featured on the social media page of the virtual prom Instagram page. So it was really cool.
You're smiling now. How do you feel about missing on celebrating a prom in person with your friends and family?
Yeah, obviously it's really disappointing. Like it's something you look forward to your entire life. And I think everyone can say the same. But our grade is going to come out more resilient than ever. And we're all going to have the same story to share in 20 years. So it's really going to be funny in 20 years. Obviously, at the time, it's really disappointing because, like I said, you look forward to this. But for prom and for grad, I know that my school has done an incredible job trying to put together a prom and a grad for us to remember, even though we're not all able to be together. So thanks to Pegasus and Stony Creek, we were able to get really cool grad boxes with a cap and a gown and different surprises in there for us to take pictures in as well to kind of still have that graduation experience. And then we were also able to get super cool grad signs, which are going on all the graduates' lawns for us to be able to celebrate as a community. And then, of course, we had our virtual prom last night, and then we will have a virtual commencement in a few weeks as well.
You are off to McMaster University, I believe, in the School of Nursing. So congratulations for that. When you and your friends look back on this time, what will you remember most?
I think when we look back, we really have to look at high school in its entirety and not just at grade 12. Grade 12 is an incredible year to remember in high school and everyone talks about it. And obviously ours got cut short, but I think we need to remember grade 9 to grade 12 and not just grade 12 and what happened with the pandemic, because there's really so much more to high school than just grade 12. And so I want people to remember kind of the memories, the different dances we had, the different school events we had, the different birthday parties we attended, the different friends that we made in high school, and just the lifelong memories and not just kind of what happened during grade 12. Obviously, like I said, it's really disappointing, but there's so much more to remember than just the grade 12 pandemic in high school.
Nadej, I love your outlook. You know what? My sister is a prof at McMaster in the School of Nursing. I'm going to tell her to look out for you. Have a great day today and congratulations. Have a great summer.
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back.
Thanks, Superintendent Truffin. And I would say with that our future is in good hands if Nadej is an example, and she is an example, a remarkable young woman, and going into nursing. So we thought trustees would like to see that, so hence we showed it. So the last two things I want to say are both good news stories as well. Congratulations to Superintendent Jackie Newton, who has been appointed to a program advisory committee at Sheridan College in the area of innovation. They are lucky to have her expertise and her advice there. And the last thing I have for this evening, and I'm reading from the Toronto Star, on May 28th, Attorney General Doug Downey quietly appointed Jewel Amoa, the Human Rights and Equity Advisor for the Halton District School Board and a member of the Faculty of Law at the University of the West Indies, as a part-time commissioner on the Ontario Human Rights Commission. Amoa is currently the only Black commissioner at the rights groups. There was no news release of her appointment, which was posted Friday on the Ontario government website, listing those orders in council. But there's news at the HDSB of her appointment. And with that, my director's report's done.
Okay, wow, congratulations to both Jackie and Jewel. That's fantastic. Stuart, you do have some people on the speakers list. Trustee Gray, you're up.
I'll pass. I think my question has been answered already. Thank you.
Trustee Reynolds, you're up.
Thank you, through the chair. Earlier this week, we heard the Premier speak about childcare centers. We're going to open imminently. I'm wondering if you could share with the community and parents what they could expect for those childcare centers that are embedded in our school sites.
Sure. Thanks for that, Trustee Reynolds. Through you, Chair Gerbens, to Trustee Reynolds and all trustees, I'm going to turn that question over to Superintendent Podderbarek.
Yeah, through trustees, or through Trustee Reynolds to all trustees, we have 11 co-located childcares in our schools. None are open yet. They could have opened last Friday, but they were a little caught off guard by the announcement. They are planning to open. There was recently a funding announcement last Thursday. Didn't even get out to childcare centers really until Friday. That certainly makes it more viable for them to open. So we do expect they will be opening throughout the summer. We're hearing dates like July 6th, even some as late as August. We have a variety of operators, but we do expect they'll be open in our schools. We certainly want to support them reopening in our schools. These are purpose-built childcare, so they don't necessarily spill over into our regular school spaces. And it's a nice opportunity. They're surveying demand. It's a very stringent rules under how they operate. They're 10 kids per space maximum, or not 10 people per space. So if you throw 3 staff in the room, you're looking at 7 kids. So it shadows the emergency childcare that has been running in Halton for a while. That ran very successfully in Halton. There were no cases of COVID resulting from the emergency childcares that have been operating. So part of they will go out to families to gauge response and need in terms of going. And you may have seen in the public announcements, families will not lose their spaces if they choose not to come back up to September. And that's how the ministry is supporting. They're funding those empty spaces for childcare operators. So it does make it more viable for them. So they will be up and running, and we will have kids, small kids through our childcares in our schools throughout the summer. Likewise, we're getting some inquiries from our operators around summer camps in our schools as well. And we are looking for ways to make that work as well. Again, we want to get behind these efforts and support families.
Okay.
If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Okay. No more questions at this time. Director Miller, do you have anything else?
No, I am done. Just again, wish Matthew and Olivia all the best.
Okay, excellent. So moving on to communications from the chair. So I have a few things. First is just a reminder that tomorrow evening is the Robert Bateman High School virtual closing beginning at 7 o'clock. And then the next item is that just to let the public know that the trustees have had our second session of the trustee learning series, and it was yesterday, and it was focused on equity and board governance. Trustees discussed and recognized the need to commit to equity as part of the fundamental framework within education. No options, not optional, not negotiable. The retirement event is coming, digital event is later this month, and there are 119 retirees this year. And I just want to say to all those retirees, thank you for all that you have done for our current and former students of the Halton District School Board. Your work and your passion live on within our system. And as this is the last regular board meeting for the 2019-2020 year, I'd like to take a moment to reflect on the wild ride that we have all experienced this year, from labor negotiations to a deadly pandemic. There's been a lot to deal with. Staff, students, and parents have had to reimagine education in an emergency setting. It was a lot to ask of everyone. Thank you for stepping up and trying. Some have had more success than others, and we, as an organization, will improve as we come to understand what the future will be. We all may need to come to terms with the fact that the education model that we have known for well over a century may not be returning to its stable pre-pandemic state until we have a safe and effective vaccine. My hope is that we take advantage of this moment and rethink the model that we have known, that we find our successful champions within this new environment and learn from them, that we find ways to meaningfully engage all our students to help them succeed and promote their well-being. Our board is known as an innovative organization, as shown by the appointment of Superintendent Newton. And we have focused and supported shifting education in the past few years, and I hope we more boldly and broadly embrace that shift moving forward. And finally, for those students who are graduating, congratulations. On behalf of the trustees of the Halton District School Board, we are proud of your accomplishments. I know many of our schools have prepared digital events and other creative ways to celebrate your moment. Thank you to the caring staff for making those celebrations possible. So next we're up to committee reports. We have a couple of written committee reports that were submitted and added to the agenda package. Are there any other committee reports? Okay, so I will mention as chair of the school naming governance policy and procedure review committee that we met again last week, and we have invited Dr. Amoa to come to our next meeting to discuss human rights and equity issues pertaining to the committee work on school naming governance and procedure and policy. I thought I saw something pop up with, okay. Just to let you know, Trustee Shuttleworth is having terrible technical issues. Okay. Next is trustee questions and comments. Are there any trustee questions and comments? Okay, here they come. Vice Chair Al Harrison, go right ahead.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. My comment is just with respect to Committee of the Whole. So June 24th, we were contemplating that we would be talking about the budget, but since we're not, and since there will be 2 meetings in July, there won't be a meeting next week. It's also virtual grad season, so everybody should please enjoy those events. And then we will look to perhaps scheduling a joint special board meeting with a Committee of the Whole meeting so we can get the budget on the table and then also move to a committee structure to have some in-depth conversation. So just a heads up on that. Thanks.
Okay, Trustee Garrett, you're next.
Thank you, and through you, Chair, to the rest of the trustees. This is just a quick update on Milton Southwest number 11. I have been in touch with MPP Parm Gill over the last maybe 6-8 weeks, a couple of times. We've asked for the approval to proceed, the ATP, for the tender. We haven't been able to put it out to tender because we don't have the ATP yet. I just received another message today from Evan Holt, who is his assistant and office manager, and they're continuing to look at finding out where that ATP is. They've contacted the ministry. So when I have more information, I will share it with you, but to this point, we can't even put it out to tender. And this is a good time, I have to say, because I think construction isn't quite as busy. So I'm really hoping that we get that approval very soon, and so that the costs remain a little bit lower while the construction folks aren't as busy. Anyway, over and out.
Thank you for that update. Trustee Reynolds, you're up.
Thank you. Through the chair to the director. I've noted that there was a number of media articles regarding other boards that were experiencing pressure from the community regarding police units or school resource officers involved in their schools and asking them to look at the policy of their use. And I'm wondering if you could speak to how police units or school resource officers are used in our school board, either at the elementary or the secondary level.
Sure, I will begin, then I'll ask Superintendent Podra-Barrick, who is Superintendent of Safe Schools, to go in. The liaison officers or school resource officers that are in our schools, they do a variety of things. Sometimes it's enforcement, but they also do community work within the schools, meet with kids, sometimes teach classes, and so on. One officer might liaise with 2 or 3 secondary schools. Yeah, it's not quite the same as the way school resource officers they were in other boards in which the officer was actually based in the school. Ours are far more, I don't want to use the word transient because that's got a negative connotation to it, but it is more transient. They're not based in the school. They come to support the school when asked, both positively and when they are required for help. And my personal experience with liaison officers, I can recall one saving the life of a student. I can recall them talking to students who were clearly in distress and chatting with them for some time about what this stress was about, etc., and so on, very patiently working with them. And in fact, they knew 1 or 2 of the kids there because they spent the time to do that beforehand. So our experience is not the same as what we've heard around the province, but I will turn it over to Superintendent Podra-Barrick.
Yes, happy to add a bit to Director Miller's comments. We every school board must have a police school board protocol. So ours, it's actually under review now, and we always meet and connect with police and touch base and do ongoing reviews every year or 2 years around the protocol. So we're actually in that process now. We have meetings, and that protocol is region-wide. So it's Halton Catholic School Board, Halton Public, even our private school are part of that. So it's a region-wide based protocol. So this program isn't specific to Halton District School Board per se. It's certainly not an officer there full-time. They largely are responding to school need, but as issues do arise in schools that require police, as outlined in our legislation, our safe schools legislation, and our protocols. So it's more of a coherent response to those rather than having any officer coming. They try to filter so there's a a coherent response and a bit of relationship in the schools there. We're always looking at it. We have actually de-emphasized the curricular presence of police. We reviewed the Bravo program, you might recall a while ago, that used to be every grade 6. It was largely, it was almost solely delivered by officers in uniform. We've actually shaded away from that just because we, upon review, we felt our teachers are probably the best ones to teach and assess key elements of the phys ed curriculum, and police officers are better able to support other aspects in our schools. So the role isn't the same board for board, and programs across boards have very different nuances to it. Ours is pretty much down to core response. There is some relationship building. I know the officers in my school attend graduations and pieces like that and high five the kids. So the presence there can be a positive, but we also are we're hearing what's out there as well. So it is part of our review that's ongoing. We will be updating our board, Halton Region Police Services and school boards protocols in 2020 actually. So it's one of those things that's kind of been put on to rest a little bit, and we'll be picking it up in the summer and through the fall. So we'll certainly be, we're aware of the issues out there. We'll be reviewing every protocol from a human rights lens, from our equity lenses, and we'll certainly update people along the way.
Chair Drabens has just sent me a message that she's having some technical issues there, some computer issues. Oh, there she is. She's on her phone, I think. Oh, she's back in, I think, on a phone. But Chair Drabens, can you hear us?
I'm just going to then, it's Vice Chair L. Harrison here. I'm just going to take a look at the speakers list, and I see Trustee Gray. So go ahead, Trustee Gray.
Yes, through the chair and vice chair to Director Miller. I'm not aware of the communication time frame that exists under normal circumstances around transportation, but I am aware that up in Halton Hills, transportation is very critical, and it can produce anxiety. And so I guess I wonder if you could comment on, will we still have, for example, I think we have those practice runs for kindergartens, and will we still have a schedule of communication that will put our parents at ease come September in terms of whether or not their child, what time their child's getting picked up and all of that sort of a thing. I guess I'm looking for time frames because I know I'll be getting a lot of questions as we head into the summer. Thank you. Over.
Through you, Vice Chair Al Harrison, to Trustee Gray. We certainly will be doing that. We don't know what those are yet, as we're waiting from direction from the ministry, but as part of the working group that Superintendents Podreberic and Blackwell are leading, General Manager Lacroix is part of that with HSTS, and she's well aware of those. So I don't know, Scott, if you want to comment on that. We just don't have the time frames yet, but we will. So go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, there's always a recognition, Trustee Gray, that especially for our kindergarten and our new riders program, that this has to happen in some form. So whether it be a virtual component of that, which is never as good as the experience itself, or a socially distanced version of that, or in every other seat, I believe the plan is still it hasn't been finalized or communicated yet. We are working on what the conditions would have to be, but I mean, just as our school system, we would prefer a face-to-face model, but if prevented to do so by public health or other bodies, we will plan some sort of orientation for those new families.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks, Trustee Gray. So I don't see any other speakers on the speakers list at this point in time. Okay, Chair Gravens is back, but her camera isn't working. So Chair Gravens, we have exhausted the speakers list, but we need to move back into private. So I'll just turn it back to you if you have any concluding remarks. Those are very thought-provoking concluding remarks. All right. Well, in absence of Chair Gravens, I just want to say it's been one heck of a year. Congratulations to student trustees, to the entire Student Senate, to the families and students of this board for your perseverance, resilience, and for sticking together, because we're not at the end of this marathon yet. But if we stand on each other's shoulders, we'll be just that much better off to come out the other end in a good way. So I would like to see if somebody just raise your hand if you'd like to make a motion to, thanks. Trustee Amos makes a motion to move back into private. I'm going to check the speakers list. And there are no.
You need a seconder.
Yes, I do. Trustee Gray, thanks very much. Forgot about that part. So if everybody could vote, that would be great. Okay, there are a couple folks that haven't yet voted. But we do have a majority, and all are in favor of moving back into private. So again, thanks to one and all the best. Take care, be well, and we'll talk to you soon. For trustees, we'll take a 5-minute break to 9:30 for the audio and visual to wrap up, and then we'll be back together again. Okay?
Vice Chair Harrison, may I just say something? I think most of the superintendents can leave. I would like Superintendents Padre, Barrack, and Blackwell to stay, Associate Director Bogue, and perhaps Superintendent Ruddock. I think that's all we need for this. The rest of them can either check out or stay if they want, but okay?
Okay.
And that is General Manager Amoa and sorry, Taha. They're both welcome to stay, but they don't have to.
Okay, perfect. So according to Oakville Standard Time, which should be the same as everybody's, we'll be back at 9:30 p.m. exactly, and I will try to find Andrea.
Bye, everyone.